it's been hard because I've been trying to stay poised and active and like vigilant and focused, but Blair Cobbs back on this bullshit. The most exciting man in boxing. You cannot stop it. Blair Cobbs coming back and coming harder than ever. The welterweight division is here, baby. Blair Cobbs here. Come on. Whoa.
What's going on, you guys? It's the day after the fights, and we already talked about Virgil Ortiz, Michael McKinnison last night on the post-fight reaction. Go check that out. But Blair the Flair Cobbs is a fight that I was most interested in, and Blair the Flair Cobbs is back, as you saw in the intro. Salute to the Spit Bucket Podcast and Mr. LTBA and JJ Solomon. But Blair the Flair Cobbs is back. He's back on the attack. And yeah, he looked good last night against Maurice Hooker. Hit that like button for your boy. He looked good last night against Mighty Mo. Mighty Mo didn't look good. It was a Philly fighter versus a Texas fighter. And yeah, the Philly boys, they can fucking fight, man. You know, they can fight. What I noticed the difference between the East Coast and the South fighters, a lot of the Southern boys, they strong, really strong guys. But they may be a little bit on the rigid side. Blair the Flair Cobbs, I mean, it was going to be almost impossible for Mighty Mo to really land off a combination on that guy unless he stood still. And Blair the Flair Cobbs wasn't planning on standing still. And as we've seen in the last 3 rounds of that fight, Blair the Flair Cobbs came out to win. Yeah, you could look at it in a way that, yeah, he was running away from the fight the last 3 rounds. Boo! Yeah, you could do all that. But for me, I saw it as a man looking to save his career. A man making sure that he wins this fight. Blair the Flair came out with his hair braided. He didn't really come out with no showmanship. Yeah, he stood on the turnbuckles a little bit. But other than that, he didn't do none of his antics that he normally do when he come out to the ring. That's when I knew Blair the Flair Cobbs was serious. Sometimes when we see these showman fighters, you know, they take a loss and we expect them to kind of buckle down a little bit, take it a little more seriously. Blair the Flair Cobbs did just that. He buckled down and he took this fight seriously. And now, as you've seen at the beginning of this video, he's back. He's back on the attack. Blair the Flair Cobbs needed this win last night. Mighty Mo needed this win last night. A lot of people were saying that Mighty Mo should be looking at retirement now. He just really didn't look good. He didn't look good, man. And even though Bud gave him some good advice, I think Bud, in my opinion, and it's no disrespect to Bomac, but I think Bud should have been guiding Mo throughout that fight. Mighty Mo isn't a fighter that really needs you to motivate him. He's a dog. He's going to go up in there and fight. Mighty Mo needs a guy that he's going to listen to and a game plan that he's going to follow through. And the guy that he was actually listening to in the corner when Bud stepped on that apron, on that turnbuckle, he was really listening to Bud. And if Bud had been guiding him, I think, throughout that fight, he would put up a better performance at least, right? But for whatever he did in the fight, it looked like he caused some damage on Blair the Flair Cobbs. So, yeah, I question if he was in the right shape. I question a lot of things going into that fight for Mighty Mo. And I also question is he going to continue boxing? He has a lot of mouths to feed. So Mighty Mo really is doing this just to feed his family, in my opinion, you know. I don't know what's next for Mighty Mo after this, you know. One would assume that it's likely journeyman status now with 3 losses, 3 draws. He had a good run, though. He had a good run, Mighty Mo. If he decides to hang him up or decides to kind of step back a little bit, Mighty Mo had a good run, man. I like Mighty Mo. You know, I know he's not the best guy in the world or nothing. He's one of those guys you just root for. I was yelling at the TV, like I said last night. I was yelling at the TV, trying to get him through the fight, you know. I like both fighters, but Mighty Mo was the guy that I feel that was kind of, you know, lacking overall in comparison to Blair. So I was rooting for him. He's the underdog. I felt like he was the underdog. And he didn't get the job done. Bomac really didn't give him any good advice. And like I said on my stream last night, the advice that he gave the advice that he gave Mighty Mo in the end should have been what he gave the advice he gave him in the beginning of the fight, and vice versa. Bomac in the second round was telling him, man, you got to go fight this dude. You got to go fight. No, bro, you said that at the end of the fight. I don't know what was going on. But when I hear Bud Crawford gave some advice, it seemed a little bit more practical, and Mighty Mo was trying to listen to it. He just wasn't able to execute it because, Blair the Flair Cobbs was in good shape, and he really was on his bike, So, yeah, good fight, man. Blair the Flair Cobbs was putting them punches together, was whipping them wild shots that you wouldn't see coming. It's a dangerous guy. When you throwing a punch, you see him out of position. Next thing you know, a punch coming from an odd angle, wham, right in your face. You're like, oh shit, where'd that come from? So yeah, Blair the Flair Cobbs could be a very unorthodox guy in there. Blair the Flair Cobbs moves on to bigger and better things. He may end up fighting Virgil Ortiz next or something like that, because let's be honest, Golden Boy don't got too many welterweights left, and a lot of their welterweights been fighting each other more recently. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if Blair Cobbs is going to be getting a fight with Virgil Ortiz, if Virgil Ortiz isn't going to sit around and wait for his world title shot. It could be a long time because we got to still wait on Crawford and Spence. That's kind of holding up the division. So we got to kind of wait on that. But yeah, man, Blair the Flair Cobbs is back, man. He looked really good last night. He wasn't playing no games. He came out to put on the show, but in a different way this time, right? It was more about the actual fight than actually entertaining the fans with razzles and dazzles and things of that nature, right? He came out there, he put up a really good fight, and he got the job done, right? He said that Mighty Mo was probably his toughest fight. This is actually his best win on his career, and I think the new trainer that he got was a good thing. Freddie Roach, I think he's really there for show these days. No disrespect, he's getting old, he has health issues, and I don't see how much more he can really give to these fighters except for him being a star, Hall of Fame type of trainer to be in your corner. However, as far as executing game plans and making sure these guys prepared, holding pads, etc., how good is he really still at this point of his career? I think the Roger Romo guy was a good fit for Blair the Flair Cobbs, his new team. And they're going to make sure Blair the Flair Cobbs stays on his shit from here on out. But as we seen at the beginning of this video, Blair the Flair Cobbs is back. Woo! Like, subscribe, hot your boy. Peace out. Woo!